Hey, YouTube Void, what's going on? How was your week? Mine was crazy.
All right, nobody move. I got a dragon here and I'm not afraid to use it. I'm a donkey on the head.
Hi, my name is Rachel. I am a part-time reseller slash artist slash person who is obsessed with sustainability, saving things from the landfill. Climate change is real. And I've decided to combine all of that into a fun YouTube channel, primarily going about my reselling business, but also adding that artist twist to it. So come on the journey with me, why don't you? Maybe one person who will watch this video. I'm extremely self-deprecating, but in all honesty, I got one subscriber, and I know, like, some people are laughing, but hey, actually, if nobody's watching, nobody's laughing. But, like, I am very appreciative. I know people are extremely busy, and as opposed to a lot of videos that I watch where they're like, smash the like button.
Smash that like button.
Can you smash the like button?
Go ahead, smash that like button.
Smash the subscribe button.
Stop saying that.
Smash, smash, smash.
I'm like, you know what? You do you. And if you like what I'm saying and you want to subscribe, thank you so much. If you don't like it, that's okay, no hard feelings. And if you never see it, hey, more power to you. But yeah, I started making a channel last year. It did not go well. It's not going well now, but we are still going because they say the first 100 videos are horrible. So only 97 left to go. If you count last year, maybe like 90. But anyways, I'm here to talk about my week, also to look at like the real numbers when it comes to part-time reselling, because I make part-time pay. And it seems very different from the plethora of YouTube reselling content out there, where a lot of people are doing way, way better than me. And you know what? More power to you. And I try and learn from them as much as possible. And I also try and go out on my own and see if it's possible to create a business that is special to me and does good for the world, which is a weird thing to say when you talk about business. Basically, what this means is, besides running a business focused on generating a profit, which I believe is, for most of us, capitalism 101, I also not only want to focus on sustainability, but to create something where I also give back to the community. 50 cents from every sale goes to the Second Harvest Food Bank in Orange County, which is a local food bank. I also want to be a part of the community, like a part of the solution, as opposed to a keyboard warrior, because I've found that I've gotten, and I don't know about you, but I've gotten so angry lately. It just seems like everything is unjust. And as opposed to, creating a Facebook post about it, I want to actually be part of the solution. What does that have to do with business? I don't know. I also do want to put an emphasis on creating a business that focuses on the customer. I do feel like the customer has kind of gotten left behind in all of this, like, nickel and dime Spirit airline bullshit that we've seen. It just seems like companies are trying to like take advantage of you without really focusing on what the product is, like how to do right by the customer. So taking all of that and putting it in a jar and, swirling it around and seeing what comes out. And that's what this channel is about. Piece of cake, right? Everything that you see on me for these videos is thrifted. It's a lovely Victoria's Secret top. It has an open back, but no, I'm not going to show you. I got it at the Goodwill bins. I love it. It's a great workout top. Basically, how these videos are going to go is that I'll go through the sales for the week, which I know a lot of people already do, but we're going like details. So we have gross profit and we have net profit. So to my simple brain, I think of a gross profit as the amount that the buyer pays when they purchase something. And I sell on 3 different platforms. I sell on eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari. And for example, we have something that sells on eBay. The amount that the buyer pays, like the full amount, is what I consider the gross profit. Once everything is taken out, which includes the platform fees, it includes the shipping label if you're on eBay, it includes shipping supplies, it includes the cost of goods, it includes the subscriptions that a lot of times you feel that you need to purchase, like eBay monthly subscriptions. We have promoted listings, which I do not do because I cannot afford them. But once all of that is taken out, plus taxes, don't forget taxes. Okay, just had a minor panic attack about that because that's coming up soon. But once all of that is taken out, the amount that's left over is your net. And the numbers are just vastly different. So I'm just kind of going line by line and looking at like what I'm really taking away when all is said and done. Because when I know that information, I'm better equipped to make better decisions as, we'll just call myself a business owner. Cue Mr. Burns.
Excellent.
So what I'm doing every week is I'm just going through sales. And then we're going to do something called the pre-net. So what I'm going to do is I'll go through the sales and then I will take out the fees from the platforms and shipping labels if that applies. And that will be my pre-net. And we'll look at those numbers. And then at the end of the month, we'll add all that other stuff, the cost of goods, the subscriptions, all that jazz, and see what the net is. Namaste. So, okay, now that I've monologued for quite a while, let's go through the sales. So we have our pre-net that we're getting to for the week. Also, just to streamline, we're doing sales by the day that it goes to the post office. So like Monday, this last Monday was a holiday. So I did have a sale or two, but I didn't go to the post office. So Tuesday is basically the sales from the weekend and Monday. This week was a little bit better than last week. And if we're looking at this from a purely like non-emotional place, did I do more than last week? Not really. I do work part-time because I do have a whole nother business or a whole nother part of my life that actually takes time out of my day. But I basically like spent the same amount of time listing. Was I maybe faster? Possibly. Without like having a camera and looking at like all of it and like detailing how many things I listed per how much time. Like it's hard to tell. So I'm just trying to be better about remembering who the buyer is and what they might want to know in the way of information and photos and how I can provide that to them so that I give them and I give the item the best shot of being seen by the right person who is going to love it and think it's a great price point and it's exactly what they need and they will go ahead and purchase it. So that's basically what I've been doing. So let's go. Monday was a holiday, so we'll go with that. However, for the weekend and Monday, I had 8 sales. And that was 5 on eBay and 3 on Poshmark. So, not bad for a weekend plus a day. So on eBay, we have a set of La Loopsy mini dolls, which I had no idea what these dolls were. They weren't a part of my childhood, so that I remember. But they sold for $12 and $4 shipping. Once the fees were taken out, eBay sent me $13.40. Then we have this fun Star Wars Chewbacca snood hat, which sold for $12 and $6 shipping. So eBay released $15.17. Then we have this Ted Baker pullover sweater that sold for $12 with $7 shipping. So eBay released $16. Next, we have a vintage Canadian Red Cross water safety book. This was my mom's. As I mentioned in the last video, she unfortunately passed away about a year and a half ago. My mom was like an avid swimmer. She was a lifeguard growing up in Canada. I hate the water, so I have no idea why it didn't transfer. The genes didn't transfer. But it's basically like a safety book, and I'm really excited. I believe it's going back to Canada. It's going international, so I think I assumed that it was Canada. Anyways, very excited about that sale. It sold for $20 with $5 shipping. eBay released $21.42. And then we have an Anne Klein blue top that sold for $7 with $4 shipping, and eBay released $9.11. That Anne Klein top has been here for a long time. So as you can see by the price and the shipping charge, or the amount that I charge shipping, you can tell how far back. But it finally got to the home that it needed to get loved and used again. And hopefully somebody is rocking that top. So anyways, Poshmark. We have a vintage Coret blue and white striped embroidered beach top. This was really cute. It sold for $15 and Posh released $12. Then we have an Adidas Clima 365 workout tank that sold for $15, and again, Posh released $12. Then we had a set of 4 Brooks Brothers silk ties. I believe they were pretty much vintage. They were really cool. They sold for $60, and Poshmark released $48. That was a good sale. So you see a lot of low dollar sales, and I think that is something that I need to work on. I'm just trying to save things from the landfill, and it's easy to get like overzealous and be like this. But if a lot of things are selling for $10, I'm not really taking home a lot of money at the end of the day, and it's a lot of work. So there's got to be a middle ground there. Anyway, the grand total after the platform fees is $147.10. Now, the shipping labels for all 5 sales were respectively $5.52, $7.25, $6.98, $4.47, and $5.76. So once that's been taken out, the grand total was $117.12, which actually feels like a great sales day, except then you're like, oh, wait, that's like 3 days of sales. And is that going to pay the bills? But it's better than last week, so remaining positive, or at least it feels better than last week. It feels like I'm getting some momentum, whether people have a little bit more money to spend right now. It's hard to tell. There's a lot of things that I don't have insight into as to like why people are purchasing, how they get to my listing. All I know is if they see my listing and like the click-through impressions. But yeah, feels positive. And we'll take it as a positive. So Wednesday, we had 5 things that went to the post office, which is good. There were 3 sales on eBay, 2 on Poshmark. The first one on eBay was this vintage pineapple juice tiger print Hawaiian shirt that sold for $50 with $6 shipping. So eBay released $48.49. And side note, this I found in the bins, and it was just happened to be this really desirable print. I actually sold it lower than what people have been selling it for. And I think because, somebody's getting orthodontics and has some bills to pay. And so I was, just willing, especially because it only cost me like $1 or $2 at the bins. I was willing to let it go for a little bit less, but I wouldn't have known that this was like a hugely desirable print. I actually listed it like a week ago, so it ended up selling pretty fast. And I can't know a lot of times like what is going to be like super desirable. Like that brand sells okay, but that print specifically was like really sought after because it is cool. I mean, who doesn't want an all over tiger print Hawaiian button up shirt? But like, so generally, I try to find things that are valuable via like, what do I think is cool? Which is probably a very bad idea because I am not cool at all. Um, and I say that with love for myself. Anyways, next we have a Karen Kane silver textured foil top with tags. It sold for $15 with $5.50 shipping. eBay released $17.33. Then we have two vintage game.com games. They were my boyfriend's. They were actually untested because we do not have a game.com or that console. But I did mention that it was untested and it sold for $15 with $5.50 shipping, and eBay released $17.31. On Poshmark, we have a vintage hand crocheted small tablecloth. It was really cool. It sold for $10 and Poshmark released $7.05. Then we have a set of small Japanese printed cards. It's vintage. They're really cool. The prints are awesome. They sold for $10 and Poshmark released $7.05. So after all of the platform fees have been taken out, I have a grand total dun, 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 of $97.23. Now, the shipping labels respectively were $5.45, $5.39, and $5.62, which leaves us with a grand total of $80.77, which is not bad. We're doing better than last week for sure. Things went a little bit downhill from there. On Thursday, there were two sales, one on eBay and one on Poshmark. And on eBay, there was an antique tie-dyed dresser scarf. This was super cool. I actually sold this on commission. It sold for $30 and $7.50 shipping, which eBay released $31.84. Now, I also am taking out commissions for this pre-net thing. And so how it goes is basically I take the amount that eBay released to me, then I minus the shipping label, and then I divide it in half because it's usually like a 50-50 split. I know a lot of people who actually take more. I do commission for a couple of friends who are really cool. So I just basically, do a 50-50 split evenly and call it a day. That's also why I don't do a lot of commissions. On Poshmark, I sold a Bally Total Fitness workout top. Fun side note, I used to be a personal trainer at Bally's when I first moved to Los Angeles. It didn't last long. Wasn't very good at it. Actually, I lie. I was actually really good at it. People look at me as this like small girl and like they think that I'm not going to like push them, and I did. I just ended up like talk about sales, like having to sell yourself at a fitness gym and like having to like fight people to get like clients for personal training was a lot. Anyways, this lovely blast from the past. It wasn't my workout top. I found this in the bins. It sold for $10 and Poshmark released $7.05. So just with the fees taken out, we have $38.89. So the commission being paid out to my friend was $12.49. The shipping label was $6.87. So after all of that was taken out, the grand total for the day was $19.53, which does not buy much. At Disneyland, it's like a bottle of water and maybe one of those giant pickles. Maybe. On Friday, we had two sales, one on Poshmark, one on Mercari, so we didn't have to worry about shipping labels this day. Woohoo! Or paying for shipping labels, I should say. But on Poshmark, we had a 2020 Disneyland fireworks shirt. This was cool. This shirt was the year of the pandemic, so I'm sure there was a lot of stuff that Walt Disneyland, which I'm close to, probably donated because, the park was closed for most of that time, and it was insane because at that time, I don't live there anymore, but I used to be like literally 2 miles away from Disneyland, and like during the pandemic when I was going to the post office, I decided to walk 2 miles to the post office every day, which I don't know why, because I needed extra exercise. And I would walk by Disneyland and it was like silent. It was insane. So many side notes today. Anyways, that shirt sold for $12. Poshmark released $9.05 on Mercari. I sold a vintage 1960s ideal Tammy doll Sunny stroller outfit. This was also sold on commission. I have a friend who has a friend whose mom had like an insane amount of like 1960s, 1970s Barbie and Tammy doll outfits and dolls and stuff. And so I've been selling for them. It sold for $15 and Mercari released $12.98. So the total before commission was $22.03. And the commission was $6.50. So for the end of that day, we have $15.53. So that's all we're going to do because the weekend sales will go into next week. So for that time period, we had 17 sales, which was better than the week before, which was only 12. And the pre-net total after the platform fees, the shipping labels, and commission are taken out, I guess I should add that, was $232.95. So it was $162.96 last week. So we're going up. I think the biggest thing for me is like a part-time small seller is like really having an understanding about the fact that there's a lot of things that I don't have control over. There are a lot of things I do have control over, but like having a bad week of sales is not indicative of who I am or how good of a reseller I am. And I think sometimes I get that in my brain. I don't know if anybody else does, where it's like if I have a bad week of sales, it's my fault and I'm a bad person because I'm very dramatic. Cue the artist slash actor. And of course, like anything bad that happens to me is because I've been a bad person. And I don't know if anybody else feels that way. Like, it's kind of insane, but it really is like a psychological struggle because there are so many things outside of my control, like the world, the economy, like the platforms that have like just been crazy about promoted listings, like, and like, so now you don't even know like what's coming to the, to the top of the page. Like, you don't know who is searching for your stuff and why they're searching for your stuff and why they even decide to pay for it. So it's just like rectifying the fact that, if next week is less than what I got this week, like it doesn't mean I'm any less of a person. Prime example. So I had the weirdest day today. It is currently Sunday and I sing, as I mentioned, for various churches on Sunday. And this Sunday I did a solo. I thought I was so great because I'd memorized it, which I don't have to, but I ended up going up on the words like at the very end of the song, and the song was going really well. And it was my accompanist, the person who plays the piano for me, was amazing and caught me. And my music chair was like, nobody really could tell except for me. But man, oh man, I was just like, I was so confident. I thought I had it. And then, like, as I'm sitting there afterwards and feeling sorry for myself, it was like, it's because I'm a bad person. It's because I didn't work hard enough. But the fact of the matter is that I did. And sometimes there are things that I just don't have control over. And at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with that. And understanding that is, I think, my goal for the week, is like to really just, understand that things, like my amount of sales, are not indicative of the kind of person that I am. All I can do is the best that I can do. I can list more. I have, as I mentioned, I have what's called a death pile, which means that I've accumulated a lot of stuff that is not listed. It's hard for me to really assess anything without getting all of that stuff up. So that is my goal. I'm still working on it. Um, I'm trying to think. I did have a goal last week that I was going to actually physically volunteer for the Second Harvest Food Bank, and I am excited to say that I did sign up, so I will be doing that next month. I'm really excited to kind of like see how the money that I'm donating is getting utilized. So tune in for that. Also, too, I have like a really crazy like idea that I've talked to my boyfriend about for like ever. And it's like I'm kind of afraid to do it because sometimes when I do like these nice things, like it's not always received well, which like you shouldn't do it just to get like the accolades. But at the end of the day, like that shouldn't be what's important. The important thing is the deed, not the response to it, and not for me to feel better about myself or to feel like a good person. So, all that being said, what I want to do is, because I go to the bins a lot, especially like as I'm like a lot of times when I have to like, travel somewhere, it takes forever to get anywhere in Los Angeles or Orange County. If you live in California, And so, like, a lot of times I'll go places early and then I'll just stop at like the nearest bins and like hang out until my thing. Um, I really wanted to do something for the guys that work at the bins because, man, oh man, especially in Los Angeles, some of the people who go to the bins, the resellers, like, are insane. And I include myself sometimes, like it's a lot. And I'm sure those people are not getting paid what they deserve to get paid. And so it's like, what can I do? And I have this like fantasy of like bringing them Costco pizza and cookies and just giving them a lunch. Not, Costco pizza, I say specifically because it's like $10 for a pizza. And so I could buy quite a few and it could feed a larger amount of people because, as I mentioned, starving artist slash reseller. I think for this week, I will talk to the manager and see if that is even doable, and see what they say and report back. This is good. This is like an accountability thing. So like, I'm going to be this good person. Well, now I'm like accountable to the 0 people or maybe 1 person watching this video. So namaste. 3rd video. Let's see where this is going. Yeah, it's kind of fun. This is kind of like a confessional slash diary slash me like really seeing the hardcore numbers with my sales to bring me into a very deep depression. Anyways, if you have stayed and watched this, thank you so much. I appreciate you. No need to smash the like button. There is nothing that I'm selling you. I'm just very grateful that you're watching me. And let's see what happens. And yeah, I don't think I have anything else. So Carpe Diem, you all. Have a great week. Stay safe. Stay sane.